Hey, it's Kelly from MXHideout. Are you struggling to control the clutch on your two-stroke dirt bike? The first common problem I see is usually with street bike riders, and that is using all four fingers to pull in the clutch. Now I know this is easier, and you may have even been taught this in your motorcycle safety foundation course or whatever street bike course, but this is not correct for dirt biking for a couple of reasons. The main reason is if you pull in with all four fingers, you have very little grip control on the handlebars. If your bike starts to get out of control, you only have your thumb on the bar. So you only need one or two fingers to pull in the clutch. You can use your pointer, your index, or your middle, or both. And if you still find that too hard, there's a few reasons why. Your clutch cable might be too stiff. I got a video on how to make it softer so that it's easy to pull in with one or two fingers. Number two is pulling it in all the way to the bars. And this is common when you're using all four fingers, because if you only have one or two, you can only pull it in to the knuckles on these two. But pulling it in too far is unnecessary for a couple of reasons. One, because in order to disengage the clutch so that when the bike is in gear, it's not going to be moving, you don't need to pull it in that far, at least on most bikes, if the cable is properly adjusted. You only need to pull it in about halfway, like this. So I'll pull the clutch in, shift it down into first, and the bike isn't even going to start moving until I'm about halfway right there. So if you're pulling it in all the way, you're wasting that much effort, and it makes it more jerky because you're like waiting for it to go, and then it goes. So it's just wasted energy, and it makes it a little bit more jerky when you're pulling it in all the way to the handlebars. The third common mistake is dumping the clutch when getting going in first gear. Oh, maybe I should put it into neutral instead of talking. So start it, pull the clutch in, shift it down into first. You feel the bike start to move, and then you drop the clutch. Oh, no, that's too early, especially on a two-stroke race bike. First gear is really tall, so you need to get going like 6-7 miles an hour before you can let the clutch all the way out. Instead of dumping the clutch, you need to find that engagement point. So we'll start it again, shift it down into first, and slowly let it out until the bike starts moving. That's where it's starting to move. Now pull it back in and let it out. That's where the engagement point is, where the clutch is starting to engage. So just do that a few times. That will tell you how far you need to move it in and when the bike is starting to move. So now, when the bike is starting to move, don't let it out. You want to hold it there, give it a little bit of gas, and slowly let it out, and then once you're going fast enough to get your feet on the pegs, then you can let the clutch out. Because if you're going, and then you're going 2 miles an hour, and you let it all the way out, you're more likely to stall it. So try that again. You can start it in gear. If you pull the clutch in, it's a little bit harder because there's more friction on the engine. It's going to want to move forward a little bit, so it's easier if you find neutral, which I got a video on. You just rock the bike back and forth a few inches, shift it all the way down until it won't shift, lightly tapping it, and do a half a click up. And a good way to know you're in neutral is rolling the bike forward or backward at least 6 inches, and it's good. It's rolling forward. You're good to go in neutral. So now start it back up. Pull the clutch in, shift it down. Now slowly let it out. Give it a little bit of gas. Slowly. You can see I'm hardly even moving the clutch. It's still in. I got 1 foot like that. Now I can let it out. Obviously I didn't need to hold it in that long, but I'm just showing you, you don't need to let it all the way out until you know you're going fast enough where it won't stall. These are just some of the basic techniques that I teach in my virtual dirt biker school, where you start with the basics and then it goes to more advanced tips for trail riding. All right, so bonus tip number 4 is reducing wear and tear on your engine. Now, a common problem I see is people using the clutch to essentially reduce the power of the engine. So whether you have it in first, second gear, doesn't matter what gear it is, they're basically holding the throttle open and then modulating the clutch to reduce the power. So now this can be good for getting more traction. Maybe you're going up a steep hill, but for just getting going in first gear, you don't need to rev it up that high, especially if you're not like trying to race. You're just getting going. You're just spinning the clutch more, creating more friction, more heat. That's going to cause the clutch to wear out faster. The engine's going to get hotter because it's creating more friction. The radiator is going to spew out coolant more. So instead of revving it up to get going in first gear, probably because you're trying not to stall it, practice keeping the engine RPM as low as possible. I like to be efficient to reduce that wear and tear, but I like to make it a game. Try and keep the engine as low as possible when getting going in first gear. So basically an idle RPM. And this goes even when you're riding at low RPM. People are constantly slipping the clutch so that the engine doesn't stall. Maybe you're in second gear, but most dirt bikes now, they have enough torque off of idle to accelerate and not stall, especially a two-stroke. So you don't need to be constantly slipping the clutch if you're just putting around in gear, unless it's actually going to stall. So see, I'm almost at an idle RPM and I'm not even touching the clutch. Let the engine do the work, not the clutch and spinning the RPM up. It'll probably be smoother as well, making it easier to accelerate, because lower RPM, it's not going to throw you back as much. This is episode, I believe, number 4 in my two-stroke beginner series. If you want to go to episode number 5 on shifting gears properly for the first time, check out that video up here, or controlling the throttle, previous episode right here. I'm Kelly Fager from MXHideout. Ride safe, have fun.